Good morning everyone, today we're going to be talking about PSE bursting and how to farm efficiently, because there's currently the seasonal event, and if you want to buy all the minerals, it's a substantial amount of seasonal points required. But before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the channel, I upload NGS content daily, so if you do play this game, I would really appreciate to subscribe, as it really helps out the channel. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin the video. Today's video is sponsored by Aina's chat. So the very first thing I want to showcase over here is our event lady. When we talk to her and actually go to the seasonal shop, if we are to buy all the different minerals, it actually adds up to a substantial amount of seasonal points. So let me just click on all the minerals over here, because remember, you can buy 999 of each mineral. So if you were to purchase everything over here, so with the arms refiner all the way down to the photon scale, so we're ignoring the weapons, you're gonna need about 5 million seasonal points. So 5 million seasonal points is no small feat. You know, it's asking a lot more than your regular 400,000 seasonal points just for all the Infernium. So how are we going to obtain so many seasonal points in a short amount of time? Because remember, this seasonal event ends on the 11th. At the time of this recording, it is currently the 6th, which means I have 5 days left in order to farm for 5 million seasonal points. So how on earth are we going to do that? So the very first thing we need to talk about is how on earth does PSE bursting work? So when we come into a combat zone, you're going to notice on the top left corner, there is a PSE burst gauge right next to your map. So when this gauge fills up to 5 bars, you'll get a PSE burst. However, the only way to get the last bar in order to actually proc the PSE burst is through a trial. So there are two different trials. There's the green tea as well as a blue tea. Now both of them act the exact same way. They are just normal trials. You complete them after you get 4 bars and there is a chance of getting a PSE burst. Now the chance is like a 90% chance. However, there is still that 10% chance where it does not proc a PSE burst and will actually lower your PSE bar from 4 bars down to 3 bars. So what you're about to see right now is I'm going to be floating towards the green tea. However, there are people there already killing the boss, and it's going to proc a PSE burst. As you can see here, as I'm floating across, boom, it turns into a rainbow colored E, and you can see over here that the PSE burst gauge is filled up and will turn into a rainbow colored, which means that there's currently a PSE burst happening. And you also get this nice big sign saying PSE burst on your screen, and this is how a PSE burst happens. And you can also see this gigantic beam of light, and enemies are just going to spawn all around this beam of light. So everyone just wants to gather to this E, and you constantly kill enemies as they will keep respawning right next to you. And this is why PSE bursting is so good for farming seasonal points, because the seasonal enemies literally respawn right next to you. You kill them, they respawn again right next to you, and you can constantly kill them in a very fast rate in order to obtain a ton of seasonal points. And you can see right here that we just finished the PSE burst and the gauge is back to 0. So we have to clear all the yellow E's, which stand for enemies, in order to spawn a trial again. And as I'm clearing all the enemies in the E, you can see that Rand sends me a nice little message saying there's a large enemy reading near your location. The local atmosphere conditions also seem to be destabilizing. Careful. And this means that there is a trial that is going to spawn next. You'll actually see a nice little green tea over here, as well as the distance of how far you are from the trial. So the thing about these trials is you do not want to complete them until you have 4 bars. This is very important, because if you do not have 4 bars and you complete the trial, all it's going to do is it's going to fill up one of the bars. However, you will not be able to proc the PSE burst, because in order to proc the PSE burst, you need 4 bars, complete the trial, and boom, that will complete the last bar, or the 5th bar over here. Completing the regular E's will not complete the 5th bar no matter what you do. The most the regular E's can get you is up to 4 bars. So this is why you want to save the trials and kill random monsters until you filled up 4 bars, and then go to the trial in order to complete the 5th bar, in order to activate the PSE burst so that you can farm super efficiently. So as you can see in the clip over here, we currently have a trial that is spawned. However, our PSE burst gauge is absolutely empty. So everyone is just going to spread out and kill the random monsters until we get 4 bars. And then once we obtain 4 bars, everyone's just going to ignore all the enemies and go straight to the trial to kill the boss over there in order to proc the PSE burst. So you can see right now I have filled up 4 bars and I'm going straight to the T, and then we're just going to kill the boss over there in order to proc the PSE burst. Now occasionally you may have a chaos trial. What are chaos trials? Chaos trials are when there are two separate colored T's. You can see that the boss over here has a green T, however you can see all of these little mobs have blue T's. So this means it is a chaos trial because you have two trials happening in the same area. So the benefits of the chaos trial is when you complete them, it will actually fill up 2 bars. So technically if you see a chaos trial, you only need to fill up the PSE gauge up to 3 bars, and then you can go directly to the chaos trial in order to get the last 2 bars to proc your PSE burst. Now something to keep note about these trial areas is more often than not, there are going to be enemies that do not have T's that are very close to the trial. So as you can see over here, there's a bunch of mobs on the left side which do not have the little T symbols on them, which means if you kill them by accident, or if you just kill them, there is a chance of lowering your PSE burst gauge. And if you have a chaos trial over here, it doesn't matter if it lowers down to 3 bars, because when you complete both of them, it's going to proc the PSE burst, so you're perfectly fine. However, if it's just a regular trial, when you're trying to clear the area, sometimes you might drop from 4 bars down to 3 bars, then you're going to need to split up and kill all these normal enemies in order to push it back to 4 bars before you complete the trial in order to get the PSE burst. So that is just something you need to pay attention to when you are clearing the trials. Now something else to keep note of is when you come to the trial area, you're occasionally going to meet some NPCs. So you can see over here that there's an NPC saying, "You, please join me in battle," and then there's always going to be a second NPC. As you can see right here, Loara, she's also saying, "Oh, it's you, you came at the right time." So when these little NPC cut-ins happen, you need to pay attention if it is specifically Manon as well as Aina, and it has to be these two NPCs together at the same time. The reason for this is because at any trial that has Aina and Manon together, it is automatically a guaranteed PSE burst regardless of how many PSE burst gauges you have. So the moment you see a trial that is with Aina and Manon, immediately just tell everyone in your room that it's an Aina Manon trial or PSE burst guarantee or whatever, and let everyone know that, hey, this trial is a guaranteed PSE burst, so everyone can gather together, clear the trial, and immediately proc the PSE burst. However, something to keep note of is it has to be Aina and Manon. If it's Aina and Dozer or Manon and Dozer, for example, those do not guarantee a PSE burst. Those are just regular trials, and it'll just fill up one of the bars. So in those situations, you want to make sure that you have 4 bars on your PSE burst, and then you clear the trial in order to fill up the 5th bar to proc the PSE burst. And last but not least, I need to talk about storms. So when there's a sandstorm or a snowstorm or a thunderstorm, if any of the storms are happening and you go to a combat zone, it is guaranteed 4 bars on your PSE burst gauge. It cannot go lower than 4 bars. So all you need to do is quickly complete all of the yellow E's so that you spawn a trial, and the moment a trial spawns, you zerg it down, you complete it, and it will proc a PSE burst. So that is one of the benefits of the storm. It's pretty much guaranteed PSE bursts back to back to back, because the moment you complete a PSE burst, your PSE burst gauge will automatically be 4 bars again, so you can just complete another trial in order to proc another PSE burst. So during storms, it's a very good time to do a lot of farming in combat zones, because you're literally just going to get PSE bursts back to back to back, which means you can get a lot of seasonal points very quickly. Special thanks to all the members for supporting the channel. It really means a lot to me. Thank you again. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about in today's video. Hopefully you guys found it helpful. If you did, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye!
What can I say except you're welcome?